So our initial proposal essentially was to create a virtual reality pre-visualization of a dark ride with an AI interactor. So dark ride specifically categorizes an amusement park ride that happens indoors. Typically the riders are inside of a cart and they go along a track. And then an interactor, funny enough, also referencing Turtle Talk with Crush here, he's an example of an interactor where you're talking with a character that is controlled elsewhere. Now normally, he's controlled by an actor behind the scenes, but this is specifically an AI interactor, meaning we're going to be using AI to generate the conversation that we're having. So in order to accomplish this kind of funky goal, we created Spectral Sleuth, which is our haunted dark ride. Essentially, we went ahead and decided to use a ghost as our AI interactor. The goal of the game is to help set a ghost's spirit free. What you're going to do is, during a ride, you're going to need to help the ghost. You're going to have to help the ghost remember details about themselves. They're not going to remember. They're going to have died and been like, I don't remember my name, I don't remember my hobbies, and I'm stuck haunting this mansion. So each time you play the ride, or ride the ride, I guess, the experience is going to be different every time because the ghost and the details about the ghost randomize each time. So what you have to do is you have to interact, or rather you have to ask the interactor questions about themselves. You're going to see the clues within the environment around you, and that's how you're going to solve the puzzle of what their hobby was, what their name was, how they died, things like that. Again, randomly generated each time. There's going to be 3 puzzles in each of the rooms, or 3 puzzles for 3 rooms. It's about a minute per each room to give you time to actually figure out what the problem was. And of course, if you fail, it changes the end of the ride. So the general game loop is that you're going to begin the ride, you're going to be introduced to which ghost you're working with, you have to solve the puzzles, decide or figure out if you won or lost, and that is the end. But the great part is, the randomization means you can just queue back up again and you're going to have a different experience. So again, the randomization, the ghost is chosen, and then their details are chosen as well, based on that, because we have a male and a female model, so there's going to be the female names for the female model, etc. So let's just show you a bit of what we've got so far. Here's some screenshots of the mansion, which you're going to see here in the demo shortly. The general idea is that the mansion is an old-fashioned style house that's going to be full of possessions that were owned by the ghost in order to kind of tell their story. You're going to look and see what they owned and what they did. And there you can see a little bit of our ghost right now. So here's our cart that you're going to be in. Here's some first concepts. We had some iterative process happening there, and we decided to go with this model where you have kind of a coffin look, but there's cool couches in it to kind of represent the mansion. And now the final ride layout. So first let's focus on the picture on the left here, because there's kind of a lot going on. Here's our first white box layout of what we wanted the ride to kind of be laid out as, where you start, you go into each of the rooms of the house, and each major rooms, like the bedroom, the dining room, and the living room, represent the puzzle rooms, where you're going to find the information about the ghost. So this is a screenshot here of the top-down of our Unreal Engine map. You can see color-coded a bit here. Well, first we've got the white line represents the track, and each of the rooms are color-coded and explained to be where they are. And so first you have the introduction room. You have room 1, where you're going to try and figure out the ghost's name and hobby. Room 2, which is where you're going to try and find out their occupation. And room 3, where you try and find out the way that they died. This will all be shown in the demo, but figured you should have a little bit of preface going in so you know what you're going to expect. And then of course the last room is when the ghost figures out if you successfully found out all the right information. If you do, they're happy and they kind of move on. But if not, they stay and they haunt forever and they're really upset with you. So, we are using AI. Pretty much for the last 3 or so months that we've been doing this, the team and I have been very confident with everything else that the game includes and has to offer. We figured we were going to have the cart functionality working, all the gameplay working. That was never a worry, but oh my goodness, AI is a beast. We're using Convey, which is one of the many options we could have used. The Convey is a plugin that works with Unreal Engine that allows us to give NPCs AI, essentially. You get NPC backstories and a knowledge bank that you can associate with the characters in your game. But way more importantly, you get things like chatbot, actions, and speech-to-text and text-to-speech, meaning you can actually communicate with them with a microphone, which is perfect for us because the idea is that when you're on the ride, you're talking out loud to the ghost, and they will hear you and respond back to you. So what we did is we were using the Oculus Quest 2, and the right controller has a little button on the side that we've used to hold down. It enables the microphone, so that's how you're able to talk to the ghost. We figured that made the most sense to kind of replicate what it must be like in a real ride. So, but yeah, you'll see how we've done with the AI during the demo. So, of course, how exactly are we using the AI to update when we play the game? So to start here, well, essentially we do, Convey gives us this lovely blueprint node that allows you to update the backstory mid-game. So first we just give them a nice backstory and saying like, you don't remember anything, you don't know who you are, you don't know anything. But as the game plays, for example, when you succeed in room 1, if you help them remember their name, we then get to, during the game, do the same thing, but now update, where you can see over here, right at the end, we just append, hey, your name is blank, which is the name that we randomly generate at the beginning. So now you can say something like, oh, do you remember your name? And they're gonna go, oh yeah, it's blank. So just a bit more of the stuff that the team was able to put in. We have plenty of assets in the engine to represent the different hobbies, occupations, and things that the character owned, that again get randomized as to which one actually is tied to the ghost. We've got our wonderful, amazing Cooper asset. He's the male ghost model. That's him in and out of ghostly form in engine. And we have Scarlet, who's our female model. Again, in and out of the engine. And we have some awesome animations to go with them because they're going to be responding to you in various ways, and we've tied these animations in with some of the actions or emotions that they emit. So, the AI. We are using Convey, as I mentioned, and that was, of course, the main centralization of our project. Can we accomplish this? Can we try and simulate a dark ride that uses an AI interactor? I'd like to believe we accomplished it to the best of our ability up to what software we have now. I think this Kyle explained it really well during his presentation that, both VR and AI are still pretty new. And so we're working as best as we can with what we have. And specifically with Convey, it is relatively new. Its action system is very new. It is still in beta and we are using it. So the main thing that we have learned quite well is that the beta means it's a bit inconsistent. So when I say the action system, the ghost responds to you pretty well. When you communicate with them, they will respond. You can attach actions to some phrases. If you say something like, hey, go pick up this item. If you give the character that information, for example, if you tell them that this object is in the world, that's all you need to do. Then it knows about it. But sometimes it just doesn't work. We haven't been able to figure out why, because it's in the Convey API. So you'll see there's a baseball bat, and sometimes you can say, hey, can you pick up the baseball bat? And they're going to go, no. I don't know how to do that, I'm sorry. And of course, we ran into some bugs ourselves where sometimes you can ask them to do an action, but it gets really finicky if you ask them to do 2 actions. You say, oh, maybe walk over there and then pick it up. We actually were able to go break into the blueprints of their API and change it so that this bug isn't a thing. But that's not really what you're supposed to do. We're just really lucky that Convey didn't black box their code. And so yes, in case you're wondering, we actually will be contacting AI Convey at the end of this, just to be like, hey, by the way, we found this bug and we fixed it. You should know about it. But the main point of this slide is to be one massive disclaimer. The next slide here is, well, of course, we're going to do our demo, and I'm excited for this, mainly because unlike most presentations, usually you go into the presentation with 100% certainty of what you're about to show. And I cannot say with 100% certainty that what we're about to show is exactly what we want to show. That is because we are working with AI. And so I will do my best and I will demo our game, but if for any reason the ghost doesn't act in the way that you think he should, you'll know why. But now we're going to go switch over to our VR setup. All right, and so for the sake of the demos that are going to happen later today, we added in-game instructions so you can, you know what you need to do. I hope I'm not too close to the speaker. If I am, I can just take the mic off. Are we good? Okay. Okay. I just won't be centered on the cart, but that's okay. You'll get the gist. So again, yeah, you begin the ride by pressing the right trigger, and you can enable the mic by holding down the grip button. So I'll go ahead and start.
What? Who's there? Oh, you must be the paranormal detectives they sent to help me out. I wonder if you'll be more successful than the last group. Well, we don't have much time. Meet me in the master bedroom. This room has some items with names in them. Do you think one of them was mine?
Well, was your hobby baseball?
No, I did not used to play baseball. That was not my hobby.
Did you enjoy gardening?
I did not enjoy gardening. It was not my hobby.
There's an apron and an easel over there. Unfortunately, I'm scooted back, so you can't quite see them, but that's what these are. Well, did you enjoy painting?
I did not enjoy painting. It was not my hobby.
So then did you enjoy cooking?
Yes, I enjoyed cooking. It was my hobby.
Pick up the apron.
I have picked up the apron for you.
Well, he can fly. Now, funny enough, I can't see the name under there, but he should know what it is, so I'm going to go ahead and ask him. So, do you remember your name?
Yes, I remember my name. It's James.
Woohoo! You know, I probably should have asked him if he knew what his name was before, but he would have said he didn't know. Moving on to room 2.
This dining room is a mess. Fixing things that might reveal details about my past.
Well, why don't you start with fixing the chairs?
I'll start by fixing the chairs. It may jog my memory.
Now set the table.
Setting the table now. Maybe this will help me remember. Look what I found. I believe this is a lab coat. I remember now. I was a scientist.
You were a scientist? That's really cool. What did you do science? Ooh, that was a bad question.
As a scientist, I explored various fields and conducted experiments to uncover the mysteries of the universe.
That was a randomly generated answer, by the way. Just all we told him is that he's a scientist. So that's just an example of the kind of conversation you can have with them, and they will just make things up. And here's our last room, the living room.
I think I died in this room. I wonder how it happened.
So in this room, specifically so you can understand what I'm about to do, the idea is that there are different sources of depth around the room based on red chair, fireplace, and the cabinet, and then you have to get close to see what it is. Move the chair. Whoops, that's, no, hold on. I need to shut it again. Oh, maybe again.
I have moved.
Hold on.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
Okay.
Thank you for offering your help.
Move the cart to the red chair.
The cart has been moved to the red chair.
Okay. That looks like rat poison. Did you die by consuming poison?
Yes, I died by consuming poison.
Now, technically, if he said no, there's 2 more places. Move the cart to the fireplace.
Moving the cart to the fireplace as requested.
And of course, you could ask a question here like, oh, did you die by falling in? Or in this one, you see some sick illness equipment. You can say, oh, did you die by an illness? But the 60-second timer has passed, so that's actually why I'm moving now. But the idea is that he will move you around those 3 places when you ask him. It seems we succeeded in finding all of his
situations.
You did it, I can't believe it. You actually helped me uncover the mysteries of my life. I can be free from this place and never have to see this mansion ever. I never have to see another person again.
Uh-oh.
Now get out of here.
But yeah, that is the end of the demo. It conveniently went perfectly, which I wasn't expecting, and it's awesome. And yeah, one last thing we did was we added, he spawns in next to the cart here so that during the demo, if you guys want to play, you can just sit here and talk with him for as long as you want. But yeah, that was it. That went perfectly.